Stakeholders on maritime challenges and way forward. Correspondent examines the conversion of sewage to energy, plus transition to formality, a pathway to development. Hello and welcome to the Correspondents. We have exciting stories that will inform and educate you as usual. Thanks so much for joining us. I am Tessie Omiri. You're welcome. Let's begin with the maritime sector. Threat to maritime business has become a major concern to stakeholders as criminal activities and piracy are affecting the economic lifeline of Nigeria, even as government has sustained efforts in curbing their illegal activities. Critical stakeholders in the maritime industry have therefore made a case for strengthening of interagency collaboration among multidimensional approaches to tackle the emergency challenges for improved national security. Correspondent Uduak FM reports.
Over the years, the maritime environment has positively impacted global logistics value chain as a hub of extensive transatlantic trade linking Africa and Europe. The industry is constantly leading to greater efficiencies by boosting economic opportunities across coastal nations, including Nigeria, but is not operating without challenges. Apart from passengers with life jackets for their safety while ready to board on water transportation, insecurity is identified as a major threat in the waterways.
Pirates on the water, and then you have kidnap issues and all of that. So the first challenge we have is actually that security. If we're able to handle the security of our waterways, although the Navy is trying, and then the Marine Police are also trying, but as we all know, there is a particular time frame they have to be on water, and then once it is that time for them to close, they shut down for the day. So if there will be some sort of extension, apparently maybe they have to run shifts and all of that. We'll have people covering the nights and all of that, because we also have, aside we who do the water business, we still have fishermen and all of that. So many other people get to carry out one or two other activities on the waterway. So the number one thing is the security. Then secondly, once the water tides go down, our boats are not able to ply that route. So if that waterway is dredged between here and Waniba, we will have a smooth sailing along that waterways. But for now, we don't really get to move up to capacity because we have times where we have to shut down because the water tides go down, and we have to wait for the water tides to come up before we'll be able to operate. So he already gave us his word that they're already on that aspect of the challenge we have on water.
Stakeholders also highlighted some measures that will help mitigate the increasing maritime challenges in the immediate coastal environment, so to enhance economic development in the country.
And to talk more on the challenges in the maritime sector, we have a correspondent from Calabar, Uduak Etim. Hello, Uduak. You're welcome to the Correspondents.
Thank you very much.
All right, Uduak joining us from telephone. From your report, what do you see as challenges in the maritime industry in Nigeria?
Okay, based on my report and what I gathered from the maritime stakeholders, insecurity is a major challenge in the maritime industry, ranging from kidnapping, piracy and sea robbery, bunkering, illegal and unregulated fishing, and as well as illicit trafficking.
Okay.
With my interaction with stakeholders, it's proven that there's a correlation between between maritime security, insecurity, and growing unemployment, and as well as youth restiveness within the coastal communities.
Okay.
And with attack on shipping and sabotage of maritime resources. You know, apart from this insecurity, because it's not only insecurity that is the challenge, it's just that it's the major challenge. We have other challenges apart from insecurity, like marine pollution and inadequate infrastructure and inadequate capital for investment, maintenance of ships, lack of indigenous carrier vessels, and sea unworthiness vessels are all those challenges in the maritime industry. And of course, boat mishap is also seen as a challenge, although for some years now, such has not occurred, according to the stakeholders.
Okay. All right, Uduak, from all of these challenges you have highlighted, with security being one of the major challenge there, how have these challenges affected the maritime sector contribution, to the economy?
Let me begin by saying that the maritime industry, no doubt, plays a very significant role in the economics, in the socio-economic development of Nigeria. And from my findings, maritime challenges such as insecurity and other threats cause significant economic losses that put trade lines at risk.
Okay.
And for instance, pirates attacking a crew and looting the vessels, or hijacking a ship and even causing harm to the crew affects maritime operations. And at the same time causes threats to commerce. And this endangers growth of the nation's economy. These challenges also make investment on the sector to be minimal. And of course, I realize the fact that maritime challenges have economic implications on water transportation.
Okay.
And as a result of this, many transport companies have to increase the cost of their services. And it's not helping the sector to grow because many people will look for alternative means of transportation. And if, for instance, if you take a Marina Beach in Calabar to Olon Beach, is about 3,000 naira. And the boat is not taking the passenger to the main town, that is the Akwa Ibom state capital, which is Uyo. It will stop at Olon. And one still needs to pay his or her way to Uyo. And this is another cost.
Yeah.
And this is another cost. Rather, passengers may prefer going by road to cut costs because from Calabar to Uyo is about 2,000 naira. So,
That's
and
a huge
apart from
difference.
that,
Okay.
apart from that, the environment, since we are not looking only at the insecurity as a challenge, marine pollution is also a challenge. So the environment also suffers in terms of destruction and pollution of the marine ecosystem.
All right,
leading
Uduak.
to loss of livelihood.
Uduak, from all that you have just highlighted, there is no doubt that the maritime sector is contributing greatly to the economy. Tell us, what do you think are the possible solutions to the challenges in the maritime business?
First and foremost, Nigeria needs to strengthen multi-dimensional interventions, which include a review of local and international laws concerning maritime crime. Apart from that, government intervention in the sector is therefore essential to source funding required to unlock the acquisition of maritime assets. And governments cannot do this alone. Therefore, public-private partnership should be encouraged for greater investment and promotion of maritime business so to boost the nation's gross domestic product. Continuous collaboration among critical stakeholders and integration of interagency efforts, as well as creating youth empowerment programs, are some of the possible solutions to these challenges.
Okay.
And there should be an increase in the capacity of local ship and maintenance of healthy pipeline of steered maritime.
Okay.
By doing so, I believe it will improve the operations in the maritime sector as well as boosting the economy.
Thank you very much, Uduak. From all of the challenges you've highlighted, particularly about the security, which you say is one of the highest in terms of our challenges that are bedeviling the sector. What role can the security agencies play in addressing such challenge in the maritime sector?
The security agencies need to increase response capacity by making 24 hours patrol on the waterways.
Okay.
And apart from having armed security on board, drones should also be used for surveillance in areas at risk
Okay.
to combat illegal maritime activities. And information sharing on maritime criminalities and illegalities can also help in addressing such challenges.
Okay.
And that is not enough. Greater vigilance among ship owners and other stakeholders can also help security agencies in performing their role. And you know, even though boats or ships, or let me say vessels, are registered with the National Inland Waterways Authority, security agencies still need to check registered and non-registered vessels, so to identify illegal operators, thereby arresting them. And finally, requisite arms are required by security agencies to counter piracy and other maritime threats.
All right, thank you so much, Udwak, for sharing your thoughts with us on the correspondence this of the day. We appreciate your time with us. Hope to see you again some other time on some other issues on the program.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We now take a break. Correspondents will be right back after this timeout.
Recently, both the president and vice president demonstrated leadership by being among the first Nigerians to have the AstraZeneca vaccine administered to them on live TV for all in the country to see. Subsequently, many federal ministers, political leaders, and members of the Presidential COVID-19 Task Force have publicly taken the vaccine to follow in the footsteps of President Buhari and Vice President Oshibaja. To obtain it yourself, please go to the NPHCDA website. There is a link to click on in order to register and schedule your vaccination. In the meantime, please continue to wear face masks, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and observe social distancing. This message was brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth entrepreneurship support years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria, pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
Welcome back to the Correspondent and talking waste to wealth. Waste is the huge challenge that breeds diseases that are 90% environmentally related with cost effectiveness. But evolving technology is now gradually healing human surroundings of these eyesore with recycling innovations to also serve as clean energy source. What are these wastes and how can they be converted? Abdullahi Mohammed has answers for these questions.
I just finished using this toilet facility, and obviously before I entered, I paid for the services rendered to me. But there is high likelihood that in the very near future, those who are managing this facility will have to pay me to deposit my sewage waste here. If you don't believe me, then come with me.
Shit business is now beyond taking change for each squad. The world has forged ahead of these. People now squad ill themselves for a reward.
You go to some coffee shops in Europe, in Japan, and other areas. Use the toilet in that particular restaurant or coffee shop. They will give you free coffee.
But why would you pass out waste and get rewarded?
This waste or this sewage that you are seeing is a resource. So we are working tirelessly with our development partners to institute and also institutionalize a scientific way of managing this sewage.
Sewage waste has now become a gold mine because of its capacity to be converted to a reliable source of energy. If that is the case, a puzzle is to be sorted out here. How can households convert their sewage waste to energy? That took me to the comfort zone of an associate professor in the field of renewable energy. He says it's no rocket science, but a simple collection and heating process which translates to methane gas.
In simple terms, these energy resources can readily be converted into biogas and used on site at the domestic level. So that means individual houses or group of houses or even municipal houses or municipal setup can actually utilize this important form of energy.
I thereafter met Belyamin, who is among the new breed of farmers building back the rice and maize pyramid. Fertilizer, he says, remained a critical ingredient driving the success of Nigeria's agricultural revolution.
Price of fertilizer is skyrocketing.
His frustration left me with a bell ringing in my ear, so I went back to the associate professor who says Nigeria can leverage on sewage waste to meet the fertilizer needs of its farmers.
Nigeria has a potential of about 88 million tons of this biofertilizer per annum. 88 million tons. And this quantity is equivalent to almost what was used then for about 10 years. What the synthetic fertilizer we imported.
When I left the associate professor, I kept wondering why open defecation? Why wasting sewage waste to the detriment of humanity? And why not adopt the sewage waste to energy system to boost our commitment to a healthier source of energy?
Why open defecation? Why mismanage sewage when experts can adopt a simple means of converting the waste, to energy? Thank you so much, Abdullahi, for that report. And to people-oriented program, transition from informal to formal economy has been recognized as a pathway to development and citizens' social protection. Correspondent Ifoma Aikoje in this report states the position of economic experts who advise the government to invest more in formalities so as to harness its benefits.
More than 60% of the world's employed population, that is about 2 billion men, women and youth who earn their livelihood from the informal economy, face a great deal of challenges, especially in the face of crises such as the coronavirus pandemic.
And the United Nations affirmed that the pandemic put a spotlight on the vulnerability of such workers in the informal economy, showing how much they lack social protection and employment-related benefits.
We are also citizens. We are also contributing to the growth of Nigeria as well, but we were automatically locked down, and it was so bad for us.
It is against this background that the UN is seeking ways to achieve social justice through formal employment.
Those in the informal sector are struggling to make ends meet, and if you want to formalize them, so to speak, you have to deregulate the rules that are required of them. They will voluntarily want to be counted, want to be registered.
So I plead that government should find a way or create a means so that people like us that are self-employed can benefit some coverage from the government, so that in times like that, if it comes again or in any form, we can also cope.
In any sector of the community that if infrastructures are inadequately supplied, that sector will have a lot of informal economic activities. So To resolve the problem, you have to find a way of identifying the factors that are causing the informality and supply those factors so as to liberate those economic activities from informality and bring them into formality.
Considering the transition from the informal to the formal economy recommendations of 2015 and acknowledging that the pathways of transition to formality depend on national circumstances, is Nigeria ready for such economic revolution?
Transition, good, but will we have it? What will be the result and the effect of this advocacy? UN is doing in other countries, it could work out, but in Nigeria we have what should I call Nigerian factor, or a template that the minor people will still be the minor.
Normally, every society would have evolved from informal economic activities where the government was not interested into formal economic activities by which the government would have registered. But where that process of development is short-circuited, maybe by government trying to think that taxes should not be the major source of revenue as it is in Nigeria, then you have informal economic activities dominating for a long time.
Economic experts therefore suggest ways that Nigeria can promote and sustain formal employment for its benefits.
We make the processes of registering business, simplify it. In fact, you can even make it zero. You make the cost zero to entice people to come into the net. Then you will be able to know the number of people who are operating in any of this informal sector, any of those subsectors of the economy, and follow them up. As they grow over time, certain threshold, you cut out and say you will start paying tax. And by then you already know them. They're already doing business. That is the easiest way to transit.
You monitoring those businesses, knowing where they are, going out to see to their well-being, and therefore taxing them thereafter. Not only registering because you want to tax them, you register them and take care of them, supply infrastructure to those businesses so that they may survive and bring make some profit from which you tax them and use it as revenue to run the government.
The 2030 agenda acknowledges a transition to formality as a priority and calls for roadmaps to integrate informal workers and enterprises into the formal economies in order to benefit from citizens' general participation in the workforce and to ensure everyone's social protection.
Many thanks, Informa. Indeed, government needs to invest more for social protection of the citizenry. And it is on that note we conclude this edition of The Correspondent. Thanks for being part of it. Remember that COVID-19 is real. Please get vaccinated. And also a reminder that rape is a crime. Join the NTA in the fight against rape and rapists and be a star. I am Tessie Umeri. Thanks for watching.